A routine food safety inspection at railway stations in Karnataka has uncovered some serious concerns about what is being served to passengers. Food safety officials inspected 36 railway stations and 112 food establishments across the state and found expired food, poor storage practices and unhygienic handling. At Haveri, expired packets of Nandini curd and Dodla milk were found. Elsewhere, samosas were stored in cardboard boxes, vadas were kept on newspapers, and food was being packed in newspapers before being served. Officials also found fungal growth on vegetables, unsuitable plastic containers being used for chutney, and suspected non-permitted colors in jalebi and kuapeda. At Mysuru Railway Station, inspectors found idlis being prepared using plastic material. The crackdown also extended to Udupi, where 10,890 kilos of bananas worth around 8.71 lakh rupees were seized over suspected chemical ripening. The officials have indicated that airline food could be next under scanner. So this isn't just about railway food anymore. Karnataka is widening its food safety crackdown across the entire food service chain. I'm being joined by Urvashi Agarwal right now, food and safety educator. Thank you very much for joining us. So Ms. Urvashi, this seems to be unending. This seems to be unending from Mumbai to Karnataka. It's shock after shock each day.
Absolutely, and this is not only about Karnataka, it's also about Maharashtra, Telangana, almost in all the states, right? Wherever, I would just put it out there, food safety departments, the officers are working, right? And they are publishing reports, and the media is taking up those reports and talking about it. We are seeing food safety violations in almost all the states, and it starts from the morning. Even if a person does not want to eat out, you know, our grocery, our dairy is adulterated, right? Dark stores, you want to order anything from these online e-commerce portals at dark stores, they're in dismal state. So food safety violations are happening everywhere. Take the hospitals. You fall sick, you want to go to the hospital, they serve you junk food and then expired food. Any restaurant, you know, it's regular restaurant, fancy restaurant, 5-star hotels. Food safety violations are happening everywhere. Now, what the question like you asked is, what is next? How do we take care of it? How many inspections can we conduct? What happens after that? When improvement notices are given, when fine is levied on these people, do they actually mend their ways? Or they are repeat defaulters? We don't know this. So the system has to change.
You know, Ms. Urvashi Agarwal, do you think these raids that are happening across states, will it help change the system? Because raids can't be forever. I mean, good that these raids are happening. I think I haven't seen this kind of raids across states at this intensity and scale for a very, very long time. I don't think I've ever seen them. You know, you've had occasional raids here and there everywhere, and there have been raids in the past. There's been food inspections. But at this scale, I have not seen them before. But do you see these raids have the ability to drive the results that we're really looking for?
Well, to some extent, yes. Surveillance is important. Tracing is important, right, which increases accountability. I would not put all the restaurants in one bucket and say all are bad and they're not going to mend their ways.
These are not even restaurants. You know, imagine railway stations, canteens, and this is well beyond just leisure eating. This is everyday life.
This is basic. Like if I want to travel by railways and I want to eat food while traveling in a train, I don't know what kind of food I'm being served. So there is a fear, right, in people's mind and rightfully. So what are the authorities doing after inspections? Yes, inspections are important. They hold the FPOs accountable, right? It leads to transparency, surveillance, yes. But what after that? What is the change that we are seeing?
That's where I want to come to. That's where I want to come to. What after that, Ms. Urvashi? How does this get taken forward? Do governments know what to do after this? Because if I have a conversation with hoteliers, and I have been having this conversation with hoteliers, they don't want to come on screen and talk, many of them, for obvious reasons. But they all are saying how much of this is really possible to be hands-on every day. And if there is a system in place, how much of that can really work, because everyone is just watching for their salary and moving on.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So the laws that we have in our country, right? Anytime any food safety violation is found at an FPO, improvement notice has to be served, unless it's in absolutely dismal state, right? But what I'm trying to say here is that these inspections are good to have, but when you serve improvement notice and you put fine, not everybody is going to mend their way. So what will the authorities do? There are laws in place. I'm not saying they're not, but we need to make them stricter, and swifter action has to be taken in a periodic basis, which is not happening. It has to happen. Just a bunch of inspections. Let's say you inspected a 5-star hotel once, and what after that? Improvement notice is served, they mend their way. What after that? So there is a gap here.
And to people who are eating out, is that a choice really that exists anymore? Is that a choice really that exists? Because you can go and look for healthy menu. You cannot ensure healthy food. The two are different. And one now clearly understands that little cockroach video that would one see cropping up in one's plate is not really an exception from what's emerging now.
Well, I am actually sitting here thinking about the statement given by Mr. Vijay Shetty, who is the president of Indian Hotel and Restaurant Associations, who said that rats and cockroaches are beyond our control. So accountability is very, very important here, right? You have to be accountable when a person or a family walks into your restaurant. And for example, if I go and I see a cockroach in my food, or I see a rat crawling around me, I can't just go and say, I can't just think, okay, you know what, it's not in their control. That's not how it is. So accountability is important, surveillance is important, but yes, there is a very big gap in the system.
That's the unfortunate reality. Ms. Urvashi, last question before I go. What would you tell restaurateurs? What will you tell hoteliers? What would you tell them? What would your advice be? Because you've seen both sides.
Well, I would just say that...
and many entrepreneurs. This is a segment where a lot of young people, entrepreneurs, really want to take up. You know, they want to start their little momo stall. They want to start their little ice cream stall, a little cake stall, and then dream about opening the restaurants. It's an entrepreneurial space.
Right. So, please be responsible, because when you are serving food to any person, you are basically going to affect the health. So maintain hygiene. To the restaurants, I would just say that you all know that FSSAI hygiene rating is optional right now. Why don't we? Yeah, so it's an option. Why don't you take it up?
All right.
You be the spear. Yeah. Like you can go ahead and say
out of
every
time.
2 years, I want the hygiene rating with the FSSAI license that I hang on in my restaurant premises. I will put the hygiene rating also over there.
Right.
Medical certificates.
Right. Miss Urvashi, we're completely out of time. Completely agree with what you are saying. I think huge lessons for India to learn from this. Thank you so much for joining us.